time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, greeting to the royalist Ethiopian who want to return the constitutional monarchy. In the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, one God. The topics of this discussion on Facebook imply that we need some clarity and we're afraid because when Haile Miriam withdraws Prime Minister and the present Prime Minister communist position, we thought it was a new day in Ethiopian history. By a statement that it will bring back Ethiopian nation glory. One could say Ethiopia at no time in its history was a lackey to any country. If not the world own betrayal in 1935 with Mussolini. Because a lackey them would give him proper gun. But today we start seeing a different thing. The Prime Minister become romantic and forgiving sin. When not even Jesus Christ himself could have forgive sin. The Prime Minister let us believe that his presence would change the whole political, geopolitical concept of Ethiopia. But it's being used now. Because we are seeing wherein him take side with respect to America and take side with the Saudi Arabian people and Somalia and different Arab states. The clarity that we want from the Prime Minister. Do you want the world to trust you? That is a new change in Ethiopia. Or you come to add to American development and Saudi Arabian development at the expense of civil war. Because we know 50% of the Ethiopian people are Amaro. And they cannot understand the politics of the day, to understand what he was doing, because your forgiveness program was created by America. General who asked asylum in America is being asked to come back home. The economic of Ethiopia, it don't really rest in the hands of China anymore, because we see the American Wall Street people is infiltrating Ethiopia. We have heard where they found oil again in Ethiopia, and that is black gold. So what we are asking the Prime Minister from so it can
okay, go ahead now, Bruno. Continue. Come back. It came back.
Continue. Let's keep talking. No matter. It's a lot.
We'll be there a while ago.
About Arab influence.
Yes, Arab.
What we have seen is that the Prime Minister betrayed the trust. Because when Haile Miriam withdrew himself as Prime Minister and he was given the leadership of the country, it wasn't on that principle. No, we see him going pro-American by talking about democracy, or pro-democracy, and that cannot work. Because you have over 1,000 minority in Ethiopia. You have 7 states make up Ethiopia that can disintegrate any time now because not everybody support the stand that the present Prime Minister take. So as Rastafarian, who is Ethiopian subject and who live in the West and who is more political developed than the Ethiopian people with respect, need some clarity from the Prime Minister that the Ethiopian people whose royalists can understand clearly that it's not his interest to bring back a restoration of the government of Haile Selassie I. of restoration of Haile Selassie I government and a slight constitutional monarchy. If not, it would bring back to Abono from America, Abono Macarius, and would want to bring back a church and state program and under his leadership will overthrow that church and state policy with English foreign friends then. Because what he is doing now is creating a new church and state policy. He must the absolute ruler and Abono Macarius as him lucky and control the state. So with respect, we would ask that they give that clarity on this subject, because Graham and I'm going to read that document where we draft about the situation in Ethiopia. So we like the royalist Ethiopian people and those that love justice and integration pay some attention to what we're going to say now, His Majesty.
Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I.
Yeah, greetings in the name of Emperor Haile Selassie I. Emperor Haile Selassie I is it. The Church of Haile Selassie I and the Imperial Ethiopian World Federation struggle for liberation, restoration of the government of Emperor Haile Selassie I in Ethiopia. Now this article is entitled Ethiopia in Turmoil of US Saudi Baku, not reforms. Nearly 5 months after a change in power in Ethiopia, the country is still witnessing an outbreak of deadly communal violence in several regions. The surge in conflict has come after many years of political stability in the Horn of Africa nation, stirring fears that the country may be facing widespread chaos and even breakup. There are also suspicion that the unprecedented instability is part of a US-backed geopolitical realignment, one which shifts Ethiopia from its strategic economic partnership with China towards being a client of American-backed Arab regimes. This shift is happening without national consensus, driven by a new ruling faction. It is a fait accompli tantamount to a coup. In April this year, the Ethiopian parliament voted a new prime minister into office. The opaque selection process seems to involve a lot of horse trading. A youthful Abiy Ahmed, 41, emerged as the new leader. He has won widespread praise in Western media and from the US government in particular for supposedly introducing positive reforms. For example, he released hundreds of political prisoners, ended a state of emergency, and condemned past alleged human rights violation by security forces. The condemnation was less admission, more apply to undermine the previous government with a false label of state terrorism. Abiy Ahmed, who is commonly referred to simply by his first name, has declared an internal peace process with a militant group known as the Oromo Liberation Front, OFL, and he has welcomed back exiled political figures from the US and other countries, reportedly in the name of forgiveness. Internationally, the new Prime Minister initiated a rapid rapprochement with neighboring Eritrea, overcoming nearly 20 years of bitter dispute following a 3-year border war from 1998 to 2001. The two countries formally declared peace last month. These apparent progressive changes however, are more plausibly a misreading of a disturbing reorientation of Ethiopia's politics, while the Western media are portraying Premier Abiy as a pro-democracy liberal. There is a darker side to what is going on. Last week, Abiy welcomed senior officials from the Saudi and Emirati Gulf states. Saudi Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jaber visited on the same day that he made an earlier stopover in Eritrea, where he was warmly received by the Eritrean dictator Isaiah Afwerki. The Gulf Arab regimes are long-time sponsor of Eritrea. Ethiopia's sudden affiliation with the Arab despots has left many Ethiopians worried that their country is covertly being shunted in a more sinister direction than before.
You can't call this one Ethiopian, right? It's Ethiopian, so.
Yes, including the riot, Ethiopian included in this group.
Right.
Yes. What appears to be underway is a geopolitical shift in which Ethiopia is gravitating to the orbit of the United States and its Middle East clients, including Egypt and Saudi Arabia. That has implications for Ethiopia's erstwhile strategic economic partnership with China, as well as dangerously stoking the country's internal tensions. The recent flare-up of conflict and tensions in Ethiopia are complex, reflecting the fact that the nation of 100 million is comprised of 84 ethnic peoples. The mainly Christian Orthodox country has also a large Muslim population. There are thus several flashpoints which could explode into widespread violence. Recently, the country's eastern region bordering Somalia saw dozens of churches attacked and several priests reportedly killed. The danger is that reprisal could lead to a sectarian conflagration. People are nervously anticipating more violence as the country seems to be teetering on a sharp edge. There have also been other deadly clashes in southern, central and western regions. Notably, the sparse western media coverage tends to depict the violence as occurring in spite of reformist Abiy Ahmed, whereas more accurately, the surge in violence appears to be the responsibility of the new ruling faction around the Prime Minister, who carried out the killings in the eastern Somalia region is not clear. The authorities in the capital, Addis Ababa, under Premier Abiy's control, claim that local paramilitary police carry out attacks on Oromo people. The Western media have tended to promote that claim, but there is suspicion that the killings may have been instigated by the central authorities for a sinister objective of inciting sectarian conflict and asserting central control over that region. What raises suspicion is that such violence against Christians in that location is unprecedented. The governor of the Somali region, Abiy Ile, is believed to be now in custody of the Addis Ababa central government. But Abiy Ale, while being a Muslim himself, has a long history of benign relations with Christians in his region, having built many churches over the years. More significantly, perhaps he is also a staunch supporter of the former ruling coalition government, which the new Prime Minister has shown increasing apathy towards since he took office in April. The former central authority in Addis Ababa were dominated by the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF. The TPLF hailed from the northern region bordering Eritrea. They were the main revolutionary force that overthrew the despotic Derg regime in 1990 to 1991. What the new leadership in Addis Ababa seems to be doing is rehabilitating remnants of the Derg. When Premier Abiy was in the US earlier this month on a week-long tour, he pointedly shared public stages with exiled figures who had been part of the Derg. When he talks about these exiles returning home, this is not viewed as a progressive reform by many Ethiopians as the Western media would portray, but rather as a retrograde move that could reignite past conflict. Ethiopians, especially in the northern Tigray region, fear that Abiy is steadily pushing a sectarian agenda which will prioritize the dominance of his ethnic group, the Oromo. There is also concern that Abiy, who has Muslim heritage, is aligning with Arab states, which could inflame sectarian violence with Christians. A key indicator to watch is if the Saudis and the Emiratis start funneling money into the country to build radicalizing mosques. According to Ethiopian political sources, it is suspected that Abiy's rise to power is part of a long-term plan orchestrated by Washington and its Arab allies to fundamentally reorientate the Horn of Africa region away from China's economic influence. Over the past 2 decades, China has partnered with Ethiopia as a model for Africa. The partnership was very much encouraged by the TPLF-dominated government. That alignment seems now to be eroding under Prime Minister Abiy. He has, for example, made provocative public comments deriding the TPLF and some of the country's flagship development projects, which China had played a key role in.
Okay, we're back.
It is also significant that Emiratis officials were in Eritrea early this month, where they announced plans for building a major oil pipeline from Ethiopia to the Red Sea via the Eritrean port of Assab. Ethiopia recently discovered significant oil reserves in its eastern region. That move possibly signals why the Saudis and Emiratis, as well as Washington, were the political driving forces behind the surprise peace deal between Ethiopia's Abiy and Eritrea's Afwerki, a deal that Abiy initiated only weeks after taking office. In order to cleave Ethiopia from China's strategic partnership, it was necessary to bring in an Oromo political figure as leader, because the Oromo have historically been opposed to the TPLF-led government. which had opted to partner with Chinese development capital. The Oromo Liberation Front, for example, sided with Eritrea during the war with Ethiopia. That was one of the reasons why OLF figures were exiled or imprisoned by the Ethiopian government. The militant group was previously designated a terrorist organization by the TPLF-led administration. The OLF continues to have a base in Asmara, the Eritrean capital. This is the group that Abiy is welcoming back into Ethiopia's political mainstream with brotherly embrace in an act of what he calls forgiveness. Thus, by shifting Ethiopia away from China into the sphere of the US and Arab influence with lucrative gains for American capital, of course, the Oromo Prime Minister is nevertheless unleashing combustible tensions within Ethiopia along ethnic and religious lines. There are fears that a Christian-Muslim conflict could erupt, or that the Oromo and Tigray ethnic groups are driven towards civil war. Some of the Oromo supporters of Abiy Ahmed, whom he brought back from exile, has been making incendiary public statements calling for vengeance against the Tigray. There is also a sinister jihadist view among these firebrands, consistent with the sponsorship of Saudi and Emirati Wahhabi rulers. Ethiopia is on a knife edge which could descend into widespread violence. But one thing is sure, the Western media's spinning of reformist new leader Abiy Ahmed is way off the mark. The Prime Minister seems more like a Trojan horse figure whose entrance to office is primarily serving the geopolitical interests of Washington and its Arab client regimes, while jeopardizing its own country's stability. Far from this political development being pro-democracy and progressive, as Western media are misreporting, it is a more akin to a foreign-backed coup against Ethiopia's international independence. That's the end of the article.
One can say that what was read a while ago is a form of inspiration. But it's good to think that way, because right now we need some clarity, because when you listen to what was read, it's very dangerous. It will go and disintegrate into some other state, because some state make it up here, and it will destroy, because the Oromo people, the Tigrayan people, the Eritrean people, some other people, and the Arab will not allow it. So what we are saying now as Rastafarian, and what we are saying to the royalist Ethiopian who listen to this reading, think again. Think that when we bring in the present Prime Minister, if it was this, we brought him in for to play politics. And what would happen to the Amara people and the Amara people who constitute over 100 million people? What will happen to the third world people? Because the behavior of the present Prime Minister does not take the third world Rastafarian people into consideration, because it don't recognize them as Ethiopian people. If not certain statements he make and things he do, he won't do it. So I'm going to give back now to Mr. Brother Brian that he can make some more statement on what he read.
Yeah, based on the liberation, restoration struggle of Emperor Haile Selassie I in Ethiopia, we are talking about government, God government. So, based on what I read a while ago, we see that Emperor Haile Selassie I is still the symbol of unity for Ethiopia, and people like Abiy Ahmed and his predecessors, they failed to consolidate Ethiopia as one. All them do is divide and rule. I would say that he had a plan to divide and rule Ethiopia, and it's not going to work. When we just read a while ago, identify more division, different from that was there before. They were divide up Ethiopia, and them do it now under the name of democracy. And this man, you know, Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, stated that he's going to bring unity and going to include everyone. But what we see him really do is him friend them from the dirt, is them really a pardon, and say give them forgiveness. And yet still them and they represent the past and still present through him atrocity of the Ethiopian people. Is that we see? So I'm saying now, Abiy Ahmed, when him come on the platform first, him tell us him going to do X, Y, and Z, him fail to do it in terms of consolidate Ethiopia as one, in terms of the unity and the whole thing, and say him going to bring back the past glory. Him fail to do that. And when you know him sacrifice Ethiopia for his own personal gain, him and him lackeys and him friend them. Is that happen? So that is very dangerous for Ethiopia. So it seems now when you set the whole thing in Ethiopia, if you have internal conflict and war can break out, civil war can break out right now. And we will discover with Haile, either Haile or not, Ethiopia, everyone wants Ethiopia. So the foreign ideology come in now and manipulate man like Abiy Ahmed to sell out Ethiopia basically. Because that really say take place. So in terms of the question that we are asking him, in terms of liberty in our nation, restoration of the government and that self-process first, we want to know from him, say, what to really represent, what is his identity? Because Omar behave right now is like, instead of unify the whole thing, divide it more, it bring more division.
Dictatorship.
Yeah, and him set it up for dictatorship for life. Yeah, so him set it and under this guy that says democracy. Is that the whole thing. So you see, they move there very dangerous for Ethiopia. And we are saying that Emperor Haile Selassie I, him doing really, this where Abiy Ahmed, him doing really was bringing a program of Emperor Selassie I, which we originally think that in the mean when him speak of going, returning to the past glory. Because that's the whole thing, you know. It's that him saying, you know. And there's no other past glory in Ethiopia outside of Emperor Haile Selassie I.
Sure.
There's no other past glory. Because him saved not only the Ethiopian nation, but the world.
Sure.
1935 to 1941, May 5th, Emperor Haile Selassie I do that. So the rest of Ethiopians then, historically, with them say a past glory. Them do, none of them don't come close to His Majesty in terms of greatness. So we are saying now, to conclude the whole thing, we need more clarity from him. Right now, based on his identity. Where will he represent who he really is? Because he don't represent what he said he would do and what he is, what he said he is. He don't represent what he said he is. He say one thing and do the opposite thing. That's what I say. So we need more clarity from him. I could conclude upon that.
1 minute. We'd like to call on the American Senate to look back on Ethiopia again, politically, because we don't want a war in Africa. And the present Prime Minister, I don't believe he thinks a Paris strike will come. 91. If not, it will be about not this way. So we are calling them on the American Senate, who love justice and yet aggression, to look into this. Saudi Arabia Somalia, the present Ethiopian Prime Minister, where this relationship went to us, to divide after Ethiopia again. 7 states become 1 state. I believe something is going wrong down there. Because the mere fact the president relieved his representative in Ethiopia